Good morning. Our first reading this morning is a poem by Adrienne Marie Brown. I think I should just continue to send her a portion of my salary, given all that she contributes to my ministry and our ministry. It's called Love Song at the Lion's Gate. I invite you to receive it as a meditation. Let your imagination call to mind one of your beloveds, someone whose presence in your life has felt like a miracle, whether they are with you in body or held now in memory. Hold their face gently in your mind's eye. I'll begin the poem in a moment. I can't promise I won't cry, and I make no apologies for its length. Its message is so full and true that it could easily preach the sermon all on its own. In case we lose touch, in case the next flood swallows my city or yours, in case the next bomb hits my tent, in case the next wildfire breaches the barrier held by imprisoned volunteer firefighters, in case the next virus comes while the anti-scientists are at the helm, in case the satellites become casualties or a war greedy men chose to incite, in case I've already said too much or you have, and they come to erase us into history, in case we lose touch, which we would never do. We chose to love each other in a world where we would always be able to hear each other's voices, always fly to each other's doorstep, always meet in the middle, always follow each other's news, gush on each other's self-portraits, always be somehow together at any distance, but in case we lose touch, in case I don't know if you are alive, in case you don't know my fate, I want you to know you have been a neighbor to my life, a sibling to my becoming, a relative I have held onto, a lover who seduced my fascination, and I am so grateful I got to be an earthling with you. Whatever comes next, however terrifying it was, and is so much of the time, however brief the moments of safety, however steep the regrets, however disappointing it is to watch people reject the miracle of life all around me, around us, you, in case we lose touch. I want you to know I love you. Our togetherness, our laughter, our shared disassociation, our dancing to silent music in the kitchen, our eternal conversation, our one holy night, our perfect free-form weekends, our transcendent rituals, our couch confessions, our whispered plans to survive, our declarations of who we intend to be, our hours heavy with joy, even our busy parallel hours, our eyes meeting at our last goodbye, knowing it was always possible. More every time we parted, it was possible that this was it. That without the drama of a death scene, we could each fall into our own crisis, our own portal, from despair to lives worth living, which may be humble, local, walking distance, hands in some dirt, following the fresh water with who is there, post-oil, post-flight, post-colony, post-democracy, post-superpower, post-limited imaginations, post-capital, post-border, post-fighting, to simply be. And when and if we find each other again, beyond the bodies, beyond the short bursts of consciousness, I pray I will remember the preciousness of your skin folding into your smile, with hands finding mine, your surprised laughter, your index finger pointing to the light when you had a story to tell, your self-regard, your wonder, your tenderness. Do you understand? To me, you were worth this whole life. I need you to know, in case we lose touch, in case we are ever pulled apart by circumstances beyond our desire, in case this is earth and God is change, and our forever time to meander through each other's days is somehow spilled by human hands, one truth is continuous. Knowing you is my miracle. Thank you, Adrienne Marie Brown. Matthew chapter 11, 1-11 reads, After Jesus had finished instructing his 12 disciples, he went on from there to teach and preach in the town of Galilee. When John, who was in prison, heard about the deeds of the Messiah, he sent his disciples to ask him, "Are you the one who is to come, or should we expect someone else?" Jesus replied, "Go back and report to John what you hear and see. The blind receive sight, the lame walk, those who have leprosy are cleansed, the deaf hear, the dead are raised, and the good news is proclaimed to the poor. Blessed is anyone who does not stumble on account of me." As John's disciples were leaving, Jesus began to speak to the crowd about John. "What did you go into the wilderness to see? A reed swayed by the wind? If not, what did you go to see? A man dressed in fine clothes? No, those who wear fine clothes are in king's palaces. Then what did you go to see? A prophet? Yes, I tell you, and more than a prophet. This is the one about whom it is written, 'I will send you my messenger ahead of you, who will prepare your way before you.' Truly I tell you, among those born of women, there has not risen anyone greater than John the Baptist. Yet whoever is least in the kingdom of heaven is greater than he." Isaiah 43, verses 19 to 21. "See, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs up. Do you not perceive it? I am making a way in the wilderness and streams in the wasteland. The wild animals honor me, the jackals and the owls, because I provide water in the wilderness and streams in the wasteland, to give drink to my people, my chosen, the people I formed for myself, that they may proclaim my praise." From our Sanctified Art commentary on this week's gospel story, we learn that by the time we meet John the Baptist in Matthew 11, he is no longer the bold prophet in the wilderness crying out, "Prepare ye the way of the Lord." He is a prisoner held under Herod's authority, cut off from the movement he helped ignite. We hear John's doubts as he asks, "Are you the one who is to come, or should we expect someone else?" Because, of course, if you're John and you're locked in prison and your Messiah shows up, you expect to be rescued, to be freed. You expect that victory will be on your side. Don't we all expect that with God on our side, things should go our way? Aren't blessings proof that we're on the winning team? We must ask ourselves, is our hope solely dependent on good outcomes? Isaiah 43 says, "See, I am doing a new thing. Do you not perceive it? I am making a way in the wilderness and streams in the wasteland." Maybe it's not the blessings that tell us we're on the right track. Maybe it's being in the wilderness, in the wasteland, in prison, and still holding on to hope that God is at work despite the lack of evidence. I've been grappling this week with the Advent theme of peace. What is it exactly, and how in the world do we get it? And if we happen to get it, hold on to it. There is world peace with a capital P that would involve ending the destruction and violence that comes from war and empire. But there is also the elusive personal inner peace. I have this good friend who has really worked hard on her own well-being over the past 2 years. She was burnt out and struggling and didn't even realize how bad things had gotten until she went in for a routine doctor's appointment where she proceeded to have an emotional breakdown. The thing is, it wasn't even her usual doctor. Someone new, a stranger, a physician's assistant, ended up seeing her, and something about this woman's spirit, meeting my friend's vulnerability, allowed the whole truth to come out. My friend would want to give credit where credit is due. In her view, God sent an angel into the exam room that day who held her hand and said, "Fear not, we're going to figure this out." Since then, my friend has worked tirelessly to do the things that work best to keep her mind, body, and spirit as well as they can be. As I mentioned, this all happened about 2 years ago. We recently had one of our friend group deep check-ins where we share how we're really doing. She described that lately she feels like she's living with a protective force field around her. Outside factors that don't really matter can no longer hijack her mood. It's not that she's not impacted by daily stressors. It's more that she has clarity about what matters and what does not. And she's determined to take good, loving care of herself, the level of care that reflects just how beloved she is to God. That sounds like a great definition of peace to me. The thing about the spiritual life is that we know that God's glory for all eternity is already completely here and now, but sometimes it's veiled. That's why turning to the mystical lineages of our Christian tradition is a great way to try to lift the veil or maybe to see through it. The mystic John, Brother Lawrence of the Resurrection, born in France in 1614, has a lesson for us, and here's what he wants us to know. Everything is possible for those who believe, even more so for those who hope, and still more for those who love, and most of all, those who practice and persevere in these powerful paths. This passage is poetic and dense with countless implications, which we'll try to understand as we look at these three powerful paths. The first path mentioned is belief. Here, I don't think we're being asked to improve our believing skills. Instead, maybe what we're being asked to do, with God's help, is to surrender and open to God's faith in us. What's called for here is a kind of devotional sincerity, one that might lead to us perceiving the new thing that God is doing behind the scenes, even while we are in the trenches, hurting and experiencing deep fear and suffering. It's opening to the presence of God. This is to believe, even more so to hope. See, for us, hope is to will a hopeful outcome to a current situation, that things turn out the way we want. We don't have to hope that God is present in our life because God is already present. So true hope is to know that God is already in love with us, already one with us. And from time to time, we're graced with flashes of the experience of God's oneness with us. Some of the mystics tell us about their awakening experiences. Some don't, but fortunately, Brother Lawrence does. When he was in his 50s, he described it to a newly ordained priest who he was acting as a spiritual director for. The young priest describes the experience that took place when Brother Lawrence was just 18 years old this way. One day in winter, as he was looking at a barren tree, stripped of its leaves and considering how in a little while these leaves would reappear green, followed by flowers and fruit, he received a profound awareness of God's kindness and power that never left his soul since. With this awareness, he completely detached himself from the world and gave him such a love for God that he could not say it had ever increased more during the 40 years since he received the gift. Reaching peace seems possible if we believe that what Jesus said in Matthew 11 still applies. I will send my messenger ahead of you who will prepare your way before you. Or what Isaiah 43 says, see, I am doing a new thing. I am making a way in the wilderness. God's job is to make a way. Our job is to try to perceive it, to believe that everything is possible, to believe, hope, and love. Last week, a mentor of mine sent me an article on hope written by Tara Tarpani in 2023. In it, she reminds us that hope has its own intrinsic value apart from our desires. It is its own integral character in our story, individually, communally, and globally. It's not our cosmic genie, but here to deliver. Hope is the friend who sits with us in the dark so that we are not alone and shines for us so we can make it through. That's why Tara says when someone asks her what gives her hope, she responds, hope does. This is why she advises us to consider doing what she has done. I have set up my living, working, and digital space so that I have sparks of hope all around me, reminders and life preservers for the difficult times. In these darkest of moments, I see or hear one of these glimmers, the tiniest bit of light through the cracks, and I remember. She wants us to be in dialogue with hope, which sounds like this. There you are, my friend. Thank you for being present with me through this. Thank you for sending that message to remind me that you are always here. Everything is possible for those who believe, even more for those who hope, still more for those who love. We are always in the presence of this infinite love that creates you as the beloved. Brother Lawrence fine-tunes this message even more, saying, our purpose is to become the wisest lovers of God in this life as we hope to be for all eternity. That sounds like a worthwhile life goal, if ever I heard one. Everything is possible if we believe that God is at work, making a way for us, doing a new thing, even when we're running out of hope. I'm so glad that we get to practice and persevere together, be earthlings together as we seek to be the wisest of lovers of God and to place our faith in the infinite love that God has for us. This is the good news of God. Amen.